How's it going, fellas? The part 2 has arrived. Quick summary for those who have not seen part 1, which will be linked in the description. So basically in part 1, this girl came to like an orientation for the school I went to, which she was going to attend next year. She kind of saw me. We didn't really talk, but she happened to like hit me up on social media, and we actually chatted a lot over the summer. But the problem was I thought I was like kind of had one in the clear. I was kind of excited when I came back to school to talk to her. But unfortunately, when I came back, she completely ghosted me, unadded me on Snapchat, unfollowed me on Instagram, and I honestly had no idea what I did wrong. And let me just say, if you thought the first part was kind of sad, depressing, and crazy all at the same time, this part is probably twice as much. So don't forget to leave a like in the video to claim your very own free nothing, and with that being said, let's just jump right into my misery. Oh god. So I forgot the name I gave the girl who added me on Snapchat and I kind of had a thing for and then unadded me. So in this video, we're going to be calling her Macy. So basically at this point, I was basically back at my house and I was just kind of like sitting there kind of sad, bro, because remember, like I went into this school year thinking that this girl that was pretty, in my opinion, she was pretty, like I'm gonna be honest, you know, she hit me up on Snapchat, we talked a lot, like she really went out of her way to talk to me. All of a sudden, like after a weird interaction with her, I checked my socials to see that she unfollowed my Instagram and specifically unadded my Snapchat, which honestly, bro, like I was sad about it. So I talked to my friend, one of my best friends ever, bro. She's been there for me since day one. I'm gonna call her Stacy. I know it rhymes with Macy, but Stacy's the friend, Macy is the devil in disguise. Actually, fellas, that's way too confusing. I'm gonna call my friend Cheryl. So I basically, you know, call up my friend Cheryl, and I just talk to her, and I'm like, dude, and I explain the whole situation. So basically, I explained the first part of the story time to her, and she's like, wow, that sucks. And she's like, let me see what I can do. And I was like, oh, what do you mean? She's like, yeah, actually, I kind of like reached out to Macy and became friends with her a little bit because Cheryl's a great person. She's always reaching out to random people and just really just kind of like, she's someone you want to be around, and I'm very happy that I'm still friends with her. And so basically, she already reached out to Macy. She tried to become friends with Macy because she, you know, she was welcoming in the new people to the school because Cheryl's just a great person. And she's like, you know what? Let me talk to Macy for you. And I was like, oh, wow, okay. So like, I was kind of feeling good about myself again because I was like, you know what? Maybe this thing will fix itself. All right, so when I called Cheryl and told her about Macy and what happened, that was like Sunday. And so the next day comes around, it's Monday, we have classes. I'm just kind of walking around, you know, I'm going through my classes. I was going to say I wasn't thinking about it. I had my mind on my schoolwork. But you know what? I'm not going to lie to you guys. I owe you. I need to keep this bond of trust, so I'm going to be honest. Bro, I was thinking about it the whole time. So it's the end of the day and I'm walking back. I forgot exactly where, but I remember I'm walking back and I get a text notification from Cheryl saying, go check Instagram, and then smiley face. And I was so confused because it wasn't just like, oh, go check Instagram, I sent you a DM. Well, actually, at first I thought it was like a funny message or something because she sent like an extra little smiley face at the end as if like, you know, little like one of those little cutesy smiley faces that you'll do. Like, yeah. So I was a little confused. So I go to Instagram and I see a follow request and it's from Macy. And I was like, all right, boys. So you guys won't get it, but that was like huge for me, bro. I was celebrating. I was having a good time. And, you know, things are going pretty well. And I'm actually, you know, she adds me on Snapchat. Like I get a notification on my phone that she adds me. So I'm like, oh my God, like what actually happened? Little did I know this was about to get 10x worse / more intense. Little did I know. So then Cheryl also texts me, hey, it's a little complicated, so we got to talk. And I'm like, you know what? I was in such a good mood. I didn't think anything could go wrong. Like that text normally means something's like a little tough is about to happen. But I was completely blind to it, dude. I just saw the notifications of the refollow on Instagram, the re-add on Snapchat. I was just living my life. So it's basically the next day because I go back home, I do my homework, and I go back to school. And it's lunchtime, and I happen to run into Cheryl. I'm like, oh, hi, Cheryl. And Cheryl looks at me like, hey, let's talk for a second. I was like, okay. So a little context, I had like one of my best friends at the time. Let's just call him Steve because that's kind of the standard guy name I use for these stories. So Steve was like one of my closest friends at the time. I would hang out with him every single day, right? So it gets a little complicated here, fellas. So Cheryl comes up to me and she looks at me and she's like, I have good news and bad news. And I was like, okay, lay it on me. And she's like, all right, so hear me out. I'm like, okay. So Cheryl goes, okay, so I talked to Macy. And I was like, okay, and she's like, well, she thinks you're cute. I was like, yeah. Dude, it's hard for me to explain like how good of a mood I was in after she said that, and then how weird I felt after she said the thing I'm about to tell you what she said. I know I've been hyping it up, but trust me, it's like legitimately worth the hype. Like it is really bad. So I'm in such a good mood and I forget, like I zone out, bro. I basically forget about the fact that there's good news and bad news. And this most definitely was the good news, right? So Cheryl looks at me and smiles, but she doesn't do a smile like excited for me. She does a smile like, you know when you have to tell someone something and you really don't want to tell them and you're like, and you do that kind of like weird cringe smile, like I don't want to say the thing I'm going to say type smile. I was really not picking up on it. I was just, celebrating. I was having a victory. Fellas, I was not having a lot of victories. If anything, I had no victories during my high school years. I had a victory like literally 2 weeks out of high school, but that's for another day, fellas. That's for another day. But what I'm trying to say is there wasn't a lot of winning going around. So when I heard something good, I was just kind of beside myself. So Cheryl's like, okay, Connor, but here's the deal. She also thinks Steve's pretty cute as well. And I was like, huh? And then Cheryl explains to me that Macy's basically going to be talking to both of us to decide who she likes better. Here's the thing. At the time, I was just I was blinded by how excited I was that Macy actually, was into me and like followed me back and all that, that only after like months after it happened did I really think about it, look back and be like, dude, that was so messed up. She literally pinned me against my best friend at the time so that she could choose between us. Like, it's harder for me to think of something more messed up. Well, I mean, within like weird love triangles. Obviously, there's more messed up things in the world. You know what I mean? So I kind of just stood there for a second and Macy kind of just let me, not Macy, Cheryl kind of just let me think about it for a second. Because obviously, that's a lot to think about. You're now choosing if you want to be pinned against your best friend for basically the girl of your dreams. And you know that if you go against your best friend, there's a very decent shot that, you and Steve are going to probably have a little bit of a falling out. But if you don't try, that your best friend is going to get with your dream girl. So Cheryl kind of gives me more or less the rest of the day to decide. So I go back, I just sit by myself for lunch so I can just think about this. I'm sitting there and I'm just weighing the pros and cons. And here's the thing. Rationally, if I was like to look back and give myself advice, I would say, don't do it. This is a terrible game. Why would you ever accept to something where some random girl pits you against your best friend to fight for her? Not worth it. Don't do it. But here's the thing. I am not a rational individual. So I go back home eventually and I'm just like, dude, is this worth it? Man, the answer is no, but unfortunately, I was like, it's so worth it. It's just so wrong. But anyways, I text Cheryl and I'm like, yo, I'm in. And then I do it. I open up Snapchat and then I go and I start talking with Macy. Sorry, I forgot the fake name for a second. And fellas, it only gets worse from here. Somehow every part of this story gets more and more terrible. I don't know how. So I'm going to drop part 3 to this eventually, but if you guys really want to see part 3 really soon, like in the next 5 days or so, drop a like on this video, and if this video gets 5,000 likes in the first couple days, I will try and drop part 3 to this as soon as I physically can. Fellas, what I'd like you to do next is to please click on one of the 4 videos you see on screen right now. For example, there's a Storytime playlist on screen, so you can catch up on all my Storytime videos if you haven't seen them. And also, I'm pretty sure the part 1 to this video it's in the description, but it's probably also on screen right now if you've not watched it. And also, if you like videos like this and also commentary videos, make sure to subscribe to the channel with notifications on. Click one of the videos. Thank you guys so much for watching. Bye.